Hey there, welcome to Tim Talks Cooking. I'm Tim, and today I'm making keto coconut flour flatbread. You could also call it naan or roti. In fact, I'm making it to go with some Indian food that I'm going to have for dinner tonight. But you can eat this in lots of ways that are really delicious. This is so simple and such an easy, quick recipe. I don't know what I'd do without it. I think you're going to love it, so let's get started. This is really one of those foolproof recipes. Very simple, very few ingredients. Starts off with 3/4 of a cup of coconut flour. Can you use almond flour in place of this? No, you can't. Don't try it. It really will not work. So here we've got 3/4 of a cup, or about 100 grams of coconut flour. Next, I'm going to add in a heaping tablespoon, about a tablespoon and a half, of psyllium husk powder. I'm going to mix that right in there. And I generally like to blend my dry ingredients before I add the liquid, but you really don't have to here. I did this recipe a couple of different ways, and I tried a really lazy way where I didn't do anything fancy, and you can just throw these ingredients together. They will definitely come together just fine. A little pinch of salt. Next, I'm going to add in 2 cups or 500 milliliters of cold tap water. I'm going to stir it in. And right now I know it looks pretty hopeless, but what's going to happen is coconut flour is really very absorbent, and you can see it's thickening up already. And it's going to absorb all that water, and what we're going to end up with, you can see it happening right now, is a kind of gelatinous dough. We're going to let this rest for 15 minutes before we move on to the next step. Once the 15 minutes are up, you can turn this out onto your board. You really don't need to flour it or anything. It's moist. It's a bit gelatinous. Don't be alarmed by that. That's just what we've got going on here. And it's also very forgiving. We've got all these various pieces out here, these little crumbs. We're not really going to knead it, but we're just going to mix it together with our hands. Like that. And there we have. For the best results, you're going to need a good non-stick skillet with a lid that fits pretty tightly for this. We're going to make a little stovetop oven with these two things here. And I'm going to preheat the skillet over medium heat while we do the next step, which is to roll out the dough. As you can see, I've got my dough divided into 6 more or less equal pieces here. I'm going to move some of them off to the side so I can roll out this one right here. To do that, I'm going to take a piece of parchment paper that I've divided in 2. Just going to fold it over. You could cut these apart if you like. I'm just not going to do that. I want a naan that's about the size of my hand, roughly. Naan is a rustic bread. It's usually kind of a vaguely oval shape. And I'm just going to use my rolling pin to roll it out. Yeah, that's pretty good right there. And here we go. This should be just perfect. This is ready for the skillet now. I'm going to squeeze on about a teaspoon or 2 of extra virgin olive oil, just so it doesn't stick at all, so there's no possibility at all. This will also oil the pan for the other side as well. We won't have to oil that. My non-stick skillet has been preheating for about 3 minutes here, and now I've got my flatbread covered with olive oil ready to bake in the skillet. Here we go. We'll just pull that right off like that. Cover it and set your timer for 1 minute. There's my timer going off. After 1 minute, here we go. Look at how puffed up it is. Now, next, see how easily it moves in my skillet? We're going to give it a flip, just like that. Gorgeous, right? Give it another minute with the lid on. And there's my timer again. Pull the lid off. Look at how puffed up and beautiful that is. Check this out. Is that beautiful or what? Onto our wire rack to cool. And on to the next one. Of course, there are lots of ways we can enjoy the naan we just made. Here, I've decided to use a little Kerrygold butter and some of my blueberry chia jam. I'll put that recipe up on the screen and in the description for you. Really, the important thing is what's on this bread, not what's in the bread. The bread, it has a very neutral flavor, generally, I find. The best thing about it is the mouthfeel and the fact that you can put stuff on it and eat it. I remember the first time I made this bread, I hadn't had bread on the keto diet for probably 4 or 5 months, and I was just overjoyed to find something that was so much like real bread. I think you're going to love this. I hope you try this recipe. I also hope that you will like, share, comment, and especially subscribe to my channel. Helps you find my videos, and it helps my channel grow. Listen, thanks for joining us here today at Tim Talk Cooking. We'll catch you next time.